I always start with replay people till people are here live. We've got a few minutes before we're going to get started here. But if you're popping in, feel free to say hello. Yes, the stream officially starts at 2, but I like to kind of get rolling so that I can see my setup. Always changing angles and moving things around constantly. So just kind of want to see if this is going to work out well. So I've got the keyboard up over here. Yes, welcome. So I know there's a couple people here. So if you're joining in live, hello. I am here. I just don't want to get into any of the real tutorial until it's go time. 2 o'clock was the scheduled time. So I like to wait until that. I've got you guys pulled up on my iPad over here, and I have to say that it is quite a delay. Quite a delay. So that being said, if you ask questions, stick around because I'll probably get to your answers. But yeah, the delay on my iPad is, I wonder how I can see that. It doesn't have a counter on it, but it is a little bit different. Thanks for the thumbs up. Yeah, if you're in here live and you know you're going to like the video, get it out of the way now. You can just hit the thumbs up now. We're waiting 2 more minutes until it's actually 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to get started. You get the little sneak peek because you're in here. Got 2 different designs we're doing today. I've got these blues over here. We're going to do some pinks, and I think I'm going to try a yellow heart as well because I think it will look like it's kind of on fire. This one's not done yet. I'm going to show you a lot of different steps and things. I even sealed this one ahead of time today just because it was looking very blah, and you'll see because I'm going to do some on a standard stone. I want to show you guys these designs on lots of different stones. Oh, you didn't get to do the pump. That's okay. It's still fall. It's gotten kind of chilly around here, but you can still do some fun fall pumpkins. It's still a good one to have. Mine are still sitting on my desk. I haven't sealed them yet. I need to seal them and get them out before. I think I'll take them down to a playground and put them around on the benches. Yeah, raining, cool, damp, dreary, blah. Very November. If you're joining in live, I know there's a handful of people here. Take a second, give the video a thumbs up while we wait to start painting. I'm not going to start until 2 p.m. Hey, Tammy, welcome in. So we're going to wait until 2 o'clock. That way, snowing in Scotland. Yeah, we're not far from that around here. We had snow already once. But yeah, it is definitely getting to be the season. White pumpkin. Yes, post it. You can post. Oh, so this is new. So it's 2 o'clock. It's officially live. This is new. You guys can post on YouTube now. So if you guys paint the rocks we do today, you can post them on our community wall. There's like a community wall on the page. A couple people gave it a try already. So if you do paint the rocks today, go and share it there on the community page. There's lots of new stuff on YouTube. Another thing that there is added on YouTube is I was able to turn on like the tipping button. You can like do super chats and kind of leave a tip on lives and things like that as well. It is officially 2 o'clock, so we're going to get rolling. As you can see here in front of me, I've got quite a few rocks. I was playing around. Sometimes I get a design and I really enjoy doing it, and then I'm like, oh, what if somebody doesn't have this kind of rock? Is this going to look good on this kind of rock or that kind of rock? And the answer to this is yes. So I've got 2 designs we're doing today. This one is a really fun. I just think this looks kind of, I don't want to say graffiti-ish, maybe a little inspired, but just this fun, super simple lettering. You can do this with whatever your basic handwriting, capital letters. I like capital letters. I guess you could do a lowercase. But we're going to do one like this, and I'm going to do one It's going to be 5 tall, center, the center word like this, except basically this one, but we're going to have the dark blue on either side. So really cute, great little kindness rock that can be hid around town. And then we're also going to do these hearts, and you guys, I've done so many different things like this. There's so many variations of using this technique. I've done these the opposite way, where the heart on the inside was kind of the watercolor heart before. And I've done something similar to this with it along the outline where we kind of blew the paint before. I did them two-toned, and I didn't really love them two-toned. I've got a few back here. They could probably just take another layer, but this is what happened on the two-tone one that I was obsessed with. And I thought, I would love that just on the rock. So you can make them two-toned if you like. These would definitely I need to go a second layer around them, and we'll kind of talk about that. You do want to get, yes, a glass of water. No straw today though, Tammy. This one is a little bit different, but just a brush and water. And I have my water-based paint pens. Make sure your paint pens are water-based for this. You can do this with acrylic paint in a brush as well. Just make sure you have one brush for water and one brush for your paint color, okay? But I'm gonna bring this up close because I want you to see how close it will focus. See along this edge, you get this really beautiful kind of feathering of the paint color. It just kind of blends out and you get these kind of, I wish I could get it even closer. Let's see if it will, where's my, there you go. It almost looks like a smoke. Do you see that? Anywho, I want to do one with this kind of golden yellow color. I think that's going to look really pretty. I'm also want to do a Be Kind rock like this one with this color combination we're going to do. So we're going to have a lot of rocks we're going to do today. We are going to bounce around just a little bit between the two because of dry time. And like I said, so this one I went ahead and sealed on the top because you'll see when we do this rock, it looks like chalky and it doesn't look that great. But then when you seal it, it really turns out cool. Hello, Brenda. Crafting with paper for the day. I love the hearts. We'll come back and do these ones later. All right, sorry. I have my beverage here to the side. I have to take drinks every once in a while. So, yeah, we did vote in the broadcast for what y'all kind of wanted to do next. And everybody kind of voted for kindness rocks. I have so many Christmas rocks that I'm editing and uploading onto Facebook right now that I'm kind of glad you guys said kindness rocks because I'm going to be editing so many Christmas videos. I have so many to get through. That, yes, the kindness rock was good. And it was World Kindness Rock Day last Wednesday, I think. I'm shaking up my paint pens. I'm going to use the medium tip side for these letters. I would use kind of the fattest paint pens that you have. If you don't have very large ones, like if you have just extra fine tip, then I would say if you have brushes and paint, to use just a paintbrush. You're just going to do very strokey letters. So these kind of letters would be actually fairly easy to do with a paintbrush because they're not really detailed. The idea is to be very loose with them. So we are going to do our Be Kind bottom layers. So we're going to use the darkest color of the combination. I like to have at least 3 colors for these. I didn't really like it with the 4 on this one. I felt like these 2 colors were both too dark, and so it didn't really create the effect the way that I liked. That was the first one I did. So if I covered that one, I kind of liked the way that looked. So that's why we went to this. And we're going to go to this. Thank you, Brenda. I know you'll catch the replay. You'll have fun with these. So I'm going to start in the center of my rock just so that I can visually space it in both directions from the middle evenly. So again, I'm not overthinking my letters and I'm not really leaving a lot of space between Be and Kind. I think it reads really easily. So I've got one there. Now I want 2 below and 2 above. And I'm using trying not to like scoop or loop too much. If anybody is trying to do this with like a brush, it will take you a little bit longer, obviously, to do this with a brush than with the paint pen, but I'm going to do a couple of them. So take your time, don't rush. I should have done the top ones first because now I got to be careful not to accidentally. Somebody left me a comment and they called it something where you use to pivot. Like, I should have wrote it down. There's a term for your finger if you use it to pivot like that. All right, so we got our lettering down there. So we are going to do that. And then I'm going to do the pink one because I think this, I haven't used this. I think the lid on this is a little deceiving. It almost looks like it's going to be a neon pink, but it's really not like crazy. So again, I'm going to do the middle. And then I'm going to go up this time because I try to learn from my actions. And this combination for lettering is actually kind of nice because Be Kind, you can naturally kind of create a pinch to the letter D as the rock kind of bends. And same with the B, you can kind of pinch to the side and have the letters kind of bulge in this direction. All right, so those are drying. I mean, they're going to dry pretty fast. This one looks like it's dry already. But we do need to have our first layer of our hearts dry. Now, I am going to do this second stone on 3 different rocks. I've got all 3 rocks here. So these are new to me. They are from the same brand as both of these other rocks. And it's weird because it doesn't say that it's painted. Where did my bag go? But I think it's got a base coat on it. I'm pretty sure it has a white base coat on it. It's like a chalk paint almost feeling to it. And it's from that Lifetop company. I thought I left the bag where I could show you. Where did I put it? I put it in the shop, I'm pretty sure already. And now I feel like I'm losing my mind because I'm pretty sure. My goodness gracious. Yours wouldn't post on the community page, huh? I wonder. I don't know. I can't trouble that. Okay, so this is the brand. So these are the ones that say there are 24. They say painting rocks, and this is the size of these ones. So you can double check that you're grabbing the right sizes if you like these. But this is why I think that they're painted. They come in bubble wrap like this, which I think is wild. But they were not very expensive, like if you compare them to other rocks. So if you want to check them out, they're in the description so that you'll see they just have this chalky, and they really did. I can't wait to seal this. So we're going to do a pink heart, a yellow heart, and maybe should we do this green, like a neon-y? It might look kind of like I don't know, that might look kind of fun. Anyways, we'll do that. So the first thing we have to do is just get our heart on our rock, and we want the first layer of paint to get a second to dry because we're going to create this edge of color, and then when we'll keep building on that edge and helping the paint kind of bleed off of it using our water and brush. So if you don't already, we do need a glass of water and then a liner style brush. So you want one that's going to come to kind of a point. We want to be very careful to not spill over the edge. Just like the only thing about this painting is not to go over the edge. Just take your time. It's not hard. It's just you have to be patient with yourself and not move faster than you can control. So if you've got a brush that looks like this, that is not gonna be a good brush for today. Look at that. It's like all funny and not looking good. or even a brush like this. I've cut this one, they just don't come together very good sometimes. You want one that is just coming to a nice point for you, okay? You don't have any weird, scraggly bristles. All right, enough about the brush. If you can't freehand a heart, give yourself a template to trace. These parts don't have to be perfect. You can see up here, I've got, the ones that sometimes they'll bulge more. My biggest thing is if you don't think it's gonna be perfect, actually make it noticeably not. So make the second side big enough that it looks like it's on purpose, that it's does that make sense? Because if it's only off by a little bit, then it looks like you were trying and you messed up. But if it's off by a lot, it's like, oh, that's part of the design. See, so we got this side just a little bit bigger. Yes, I do too, Diane. And somebody actually sent me a message, and I cannot remember the word. They called it something to stabilize with your pinky. It's like, oh my gosh. And I just put my finger right through that. I can't believe I just did that. Yeah, Sally, I'm sure listening in the car sounds kind of strange. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get our heart on this one. And I'm starting with the light pink on here. I did go from light pink or light blue to dark blue on the first one. We're going to see how this pink kind of bleeds out when we start adding our water. The light blue looked very, very chalky. And so I didn't really, it wasn't looking great. So I started adding in some of the dark blue and going back and forth, and it really turned out neat. So that is what we might do again. Like always, we're just gonna kind of go with it as things are going down. Now these rocks are like sponges for the paint and the water. So that's something else with this tutorial. You're gonna play and we're gonna go back and forth between our water and our paint pens. Again, I'm going to reiterate, water-based paint pens, make sure your paint pens say either acrylic, water-based, same thing. Acrylic paints are water-based paints. But they do make oil paint pens. And oil paint pens for other crafts are very popular, so they're definitely at the store. Excuse me, had to get a sip. All right. We're going to do layer 2 on our Be Kind rocks. All right, so for this one, I'm going to cover all 3. For this one, I'm only going to cover the center 3. So if you've got a big enough rock that you can do all 5 like this, great. If you don't, you can do this with just the 3. Oh, and the other one's out of, that's what this one is up here. So when I rewrite it, I pick a direction that you're trying to land. So I'm going to try to land just slightly to the left. So to do that, I'm going to make my first line just slightly to the left, and then I'm going to write without overthinking it, just slightly to the left, the first line of each letter. And it's going to kind of overlap sometimes because your brain wants to do it, but just kind of go at it without overthinking too much. The whole idea of this design is it kind of is freehand style look to it. Okay. Again, if you had to use a brush for, see, look how sloppy this one is. It's okay. It can go back over that with a second layer if I want to. It looks like this one's a little bit light in a few spots. So if you have to go back over on a second layer on that layer, then you would want to take your time because you do want to make sure that you're not having multiple layers of each color. All right. So now I'm going to do just the second through 3. It's funny because I've written Be Kind now today because I was doing these other ones up here before. And it's funny, when you write something over and over again, it starts to look strange. At least it does for me. I don't know if that's called something. But for me, it's like once I've looked at a word So many times it starts looking like it's wrong. And I'm about there today with the word be kind. All right, so we got that. Yeah, I don't know if I just hadn't shaken up that light pink enough. I feel like it doesn't really pop off the same way that the light blue is here. So I might go back over that slowly here. It just doesn't look solid like it should. Oh, there we go. I think I just hadn't shaken it up. Shake your pens, people. It's important. I still remember when I first got my set of an Artistro extra fine tips, you can actually see the paint separating, and it does actually separate pretty fast. I think sometimes I forget that. I get excited to paint, but I hadn't used this color yet. There we go. Better. Better. All right, how are we doing? All right. So we'll put those two to the side for now. We want to give that a second to dry, and then we're going to come back with our white on that center one. And it's going to look very neat. All right. We're going to start on our pink heart because I feel like that one we might want to add a second color too. So this first layer is dry. Again, if you were doing this with acrylic paint, just basically when I'm using a paintbrush, this blue handle one with water, that's separate, and then you would use a completely different paintbrush with only paint anytime I'm using the paint pen. I'm only going to use one paint pen and one paintbrush, so you would have two paintbrushes, one with paint and one with water. All right, I am going to have my extra fine tip side. Even more reason to do, no, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I was talking about the paint pens. You know what, in one sitting, usually if I've shaken them up really good, like as I walk to get work in, they're usually pretty fine. You're gonna be able to tell. That's why normally I keep my piece of paper to the side to doodle on it a little bit. I think you just saw that because I saw a little laugh. There's a little bit of a delay I deal with. But yeah, if you doodle on a piece of paper, you can usually tell it will look a little bit watery when you put it on the paper before you get to your stone, or if you just notice when you start to paint with it, you can tell most of the time. All right, now, depending on your rock is how much water your rock is going to soak in. But the first time around, the biggest thing about this, we're going to go around multiple times, okay? So don't worry if you wash out your paint when you're getting kind of the hang of this. The first couple times around, it might really bleed out and it will really wash out, but you're going to go around and it's slowly going to build up, and it's going to look cool because it's created from layers of doing this. So the biggest thing is to take your time and not to go over your line, okay? So you're going to get your water, and I think the gray rock is the best for you guys to see this because you can see when the rock is wet. And then you're going to bring the water to the edge. And then you're going to just take your extra fine tip and you're just going to trace the line right along where you did the water. Okay? And then you're just going to bring your brush in here and you can kind of dab, dab, dab along that line. And it's going to kind of flood out into your wet area of the rock. And depending on how much water there is, if you get a lot of water on here, a lot of it might wash off. That's okay, because we're going to build this up. And you know what? While we're doing this one, I'm going to kind of bring you a little bit more. I'm going to adjust you. So if you get motion sickness, close your eyes for a second. I want to get more over the top. So I can be like, right. Can I zoom in? Oh my gosh. You guys. As long as this stays in focus, because I want you guys to be able to see. This builds up very slowly. The goal is, when you're done, is to not see the stripe. Okay, so I'm going to bring this blue one in that I did. See how you can't really see the stripe? I built it that fade until that there's not the outer edge of the stripe. I think that's what I'm trying to say. All right, so water, do not cross over the line. You can go on the line, just don't cross over the line. And then paint pen. And yes, I am putting the cap on my paint pen, at least loosely every time. Just kind of holding it in my left hand in my lap. Okay. And I'm just going to slowly rotate and go back and forth between water and the paint pen. There we go. And it's actually really fun to watch. I mean, you'll see the paint kind of bleeding on this dark rock. You're going to be able to see where I'm adding the water better. On the light rock, you're going to be able to see the paint as it's bleeding a little bit better. So both of them kind of have a really good purpose in the tutorial. Again, just don't cross the line. You can get the water on the line. Just do not cross that line. If you cross the line on accident, don't put any paint down. Let it dry. And then come back and add more water. And this one's not necessarily the hardest rock, but it does take a little bit of patience. So maybe that is hard for some people. It can be hard for me. Yeah, I didn't know I could zoom in either. And I think I would place my camera. I don't know how good the quality. It looks pretty clear. Is it crystal clear for you guys zoomed in like this, or is the quality different now that I'm zoomed in? I guess that's kind of the question. Let me know in the comments. You know, you guys have a little bit of a delay, so. It looks great. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tammy. Okay. Yeah, see, like as you dab here, you can just see those little bursts of color kind of pulling away. So now as you rotate, see, you'll see that the rock is starting to dry on this side already. So you can play around with how much water you add. You can start with adding water just along the line to keep it more concentrated and not bring it all the way to the edge. So you're gonna come and just do, you know, that thickness and not take it all the way to the edge. And then you're gonna go back there. There we go. And see how that's kind of flooding away from the edge? So we're kind of building that up. Just gonna kind of dab it down. You paint in your garage. Oh, I hope you got a heater out there, or is it cold? My garage is freezing right now. We do not have a heater in our garage. And once I finish this pink rock, we'll finish up our Be Kind rocks. Those ones are so simple, and that's a good one if you just need a really fun, speedy design. I don't know if you need to do like a batch of kindness rocks, or you just want, you know, a group of kids to do some kindness rocks even. You could do it obviously with lots of different phrases. I just think the Be Kind looks real cute. Okay. Now don't rush this. Like I said, I think I'm probably on the dark rock. It takes the longest. I think we'll probably end up with like 3 laps on this rock around, but we're not using very much paint. We're just adding it a little bit at a time. But again, the goal is to not see the outside edge. Oops, do you see that? I went over the edge. I'm not going to paint that section right now. I'm going to skip past it. The goal is to not see this outside edge of the pink line. We don't want that to be like a harsh line. Now, previously, the one that I did in the blue. I think now that I'm zoomed in, you cannot see it, but I did end up coming back and doing dark blue with that one too, because it was looking really chalky. So we'll see how that goes with this one, because this might be doing the same thing. This light kind of pale pink might get a little chalky. See, and as that builds up, we're still going to kind of go in there and let it blend out and bleed out into the outside, because we're going to do it a little bit at a time. And I'm being careful to follow the same line. I'm not letting myself get carried away, because sometimes I like to rush myself for whatever reason. But I'm not in a hurry today. These are simple designs. All right, I'm going to let this layer completely dry. And then I'm going to decide, out here, I'll show you. So the dark blue, I came back in. Whoop. So it was light blue and I came back in with the dark blue. And you can see, I still see a little bit of that line maybe. So we're going to maybe come back in with that bright pink. I think that will look really cool. Let's do the top layer of our Be Kind rocks while this dries, so that we can kind of have a better idea. We'll see if I can just get these underneath here so I don't have to move the camera. This guy's so big, he barely fits. I don't know if my white paint pen will fit here. Yeah, I think it will. I'm glad you like it. Yes. I hope you give these a try. They're really fun. I really enjoy doing them. And I love hiding hearts around town. Anybody can appreciate a heart. All right, again, just the first line, if you kind of put it on the left-hand side and then just freehand it. We're just doing the center one. So if you want to take your time a little bit with it, go for it. But I always find, like, the more I think about it, I'll start kind of messing up. Okay. I'm going to make it just a smidge. This felt like the paint. Just want to leave a nice. Oh, you guys, why am I'm like crazy. I just put my finger right in that. Let's do a second coat once it dries, like I tell people to do, because that's why. All right. Isn't that fun? It's really close right now, you guys. That's so crazy. I can't believe I just learned that today. All right. Now, since I'm going to the pink, I'm going to come over here. I'm doodling on my piece of paper, because sure enough, there is a little bit of blue in that white. You can't see that I'm doing that, but I'm just doodling it off so that I don't get blue in this design. If I pull any color into this white, it better be pink. That's so fun. I love that. You could do this with the extra fine tip side too, but I just like the chunkiness of it. I am going to do a second coat of the white on that one too. I just think that bold, bright white is fun. All right. There we go. Those are to the side. All right. We're going to go right back in here. I think I want to do the dark pink on here too. I just think I'm going to do it. All right. So we're just going to trace right on top of this light pink. Just going to do a little bit of the heart at a time. And then we're just going to go right along that edge. Very careful again not to cross over the line. Get a little bit of water action going here. Oh, sorry. Got a little bit low there. All right, there we go. So I got a nice line there. And we're gonna come right along here. And I wanna make sure that I cover the entire light pink, like the inside line of it. And then look at that flooding. Ooh, that's so fun to watch, you guys. I also do watercolor. I love how it blends. I try to post. That's so strange. I don't know why it's not working. I don't know if it's not working while I'm live for whatever reason. Look at that. Ooh. I feel like I just can't touch that. I just have to let that do its thing. And I can still see the right side of the line very little bit there, but that's okay. All right. So again, we're gonna lay the line down first. Okay. And we're gonna kind of come right along there. Start getting that side of the rock wet. And then we're going to go right along it again. And again, I just want to make sure not to cross into the stone part. And if you need to give it a little bit of, whoop. See, that side went really well on its own. This side might need a little more negotiation. That's all right. It will take another layer to do it. And that's the thing. Sometimes it just takes a little bit longer to build up than others. Oh, these are just fun to do. It's just fun to play. All right, so we're gonna get this wet out here. Okay. Oh, that area was not wet. Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking too much. There we go. Woo! All right, we're letting those. This side needs a little, see, so if you don't love the way it happens, like this one, it ended up washing out too much, just leave it for a moment. Give it time to dry. If it gets way too wet, that means when it dries, it's going to be pretty thin anyways, and it just becomes a layer in your design. And you can kind of tilt, see, like I want to tilt to have that kind of spread in that direction. I'm going to do something with that bottom. But see, I can still see very lightly. Let's see, we can still see that line just a little bit, which means I'm probably going to want to come through here one more time. So I'm just going to kind of add a little bit. There's in there. See if we can wiggle that out. It's coming together though. It's looking cool. See, we got. The only thing I don't like about it being up close is you guys, as people pop in and out, they can't really see all the other designs that we've gotten done or that we're working on. All right, so I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to see how this layer looks. I'm going to zoom this out just a smidge. Oop. we'll still stay in pretty close, but I want to be able to see this one. We got our blue one over here. All right, I want to see how this one works, this green. Yes. Isn't that fun? And with the sealer, like I did on the black, it actually makes the stone darker. And I really like, it actually makes this look really neat on the outside edge. So I think that's gonna look really, really cool. I still think I need to do another little bit on this. There's a couple spots. So sometimes if you're not really sure, just let it sit for a little bit so that you can kind of see where it's at. Now the first layer of this stripe has been on here for a minute. So we're gonna go ahead and make sure, push that brush into the bottom and get all that color out of it. I've got a really big glass of water here, so my paint water should not be affected by the amount that I'm maybe bringing in there. But I am keeping an eye on it. Now these stones, like I said, these are those new ones, and they are like sponges. So I had to go back and forth quite a few times on that blue one, but it's so worth it. I think it looks so cool. So I'm gonna go back and forth between water and this paint pen. And we're just gonna slowly build this out. But it just like soaks it in, like just slurps it up. But they're so bright white. I really like them. They're a good size. And they're more of a natural stone shape. Sometimes people will get on because I'm using those flat whites. And I mean, get on me. I mean, they have opinions. Sometimes, it doesn't look like a stone to some people, but whatever. I'm painting and spreading them out. The people finding them are loving them. That's all that matters to me. All right. Again, biggest tip, just don't cross the line with your paint pen or your paintbrush. I'm just going to get this one lap around. This color really gets yellowy past the edge. So we keeping the water close for the second lap. And if you're joining in, make sure you're using water-based paint pens for something like this. They do make oil-based paint pens that would not work for this. So acrylic, aka water-based paint only for this. Don't want you ruining your pens. And obviously if you need paint pens, I link to the ones I like the best. I really am liking the dual tips though, because I feel like I can get a lot done with just one set of pens. All right, I'm really liking this. It's a little more yellow than I thought. So I'm gonna work smaller spaces here. And keep that contained a little bit more. Just to kind of blend in and out. Once you've gotten the stone kind of saturated, you don't have to add much water to get things moving. But like I said, each stone's gonna, like style stone's gonna act a little differently. See you later, Diane. Thanks for coming in. If you are on Facebook, look for the post so you can share your rocks if you paint some. There we go. And you can try. I mean, she said she was trying to post. You should be able to post now here on YouTube in some fashion. I know a couple people were able to. All right, we're going to let that layer dry on there. All right. Oh, look at our pink. What is that? How did that get wet? I wonder if I dripped my brush water on that. All right, I'm going to start the yellow one. This was the fastest rock. Now, since this isn't curved, it really soaks up the, like the paint stays on top. It doesn't really fall over the edge. Now, this one I only did one lap around, and that's how it looked. This is still a little bit of a harsh edge here for me. But other than that, but look how pretty. Okay, so I'm just going to go. I feel like my water looks dirty now, officially. I'm going to go refill my water. That's part of the life, I guess. All right. It's not like it's that far. All right. So again, make sure to get all that paint off your bristles if you're changing between colors. I'm just going to take my brush. I'm going to go right along that line, and I am going to saturate the surface all the way to the edge of the rock. And then we're going to go right along that line. And then I'm just going to come right back in with my brush, right along that line one more time, just to kind of get it moving. Okay, and you can tilt just slightly just to kind of help it kind of away a little bit. All right, now I'm just going to continue. All right, so do not go over the line. We are going to bring that paint all the way out to the edge. And as you see, I kind of am working in like fourths, I guess. Top, bottom, left and right. I think this yellow is going to look really cool. Just encouraging it to move just a little bit. Doesn't take much on these flat stones because it kind of like settles. Okay. Have a little bit of yellow in the brush still. That's okay. Doesn't matter. I'm literally just kind of dabbing. I didn't get any more water. I'm just kind of dabbing on that edge just to help it kind of get a little bit of a flow to it. Now, since it's yellow, I think I might have to do a second coat on that one, but it looks really pretty. We're going to let that dry, that layer, and then we're going to come back and just do the exact same thing one more time. Let's go back to our pink rock. It looks really pretty cool. I am just going to kind of, I don't like the way that edge looks. This I love. You see, there's just like these moments that I'm loving. So what you're going to do is you're going to be more specific with your water. So I'm going to lay the water right where I want my rock to kind of have that. And I'm tilting away from the center to create that coloring where I want it. See, I'm being more specific, working a smaller space. Okay. Now there's not a lot going on here in the middle. So I'm going to take right in there, very specific with my water. It's easy on these darker stones to be more specific because you can really see where the water is going down. Just like that. bleed away. Here, stick another rock underneath there. I'm gonna hold it for a second. See how right there, there's like one spot. I don't know how I missed that spot before, but again, not much water. Give it a place to go. Okay. It's right there. Let it kind of float away. Okay. See if there's anywhere else. It's like, I hate that this did so good on its first layer because I feel like I don't have as much under that as I normally would like. But that looked so cool. I might be able to do like a thin layer on top of it, maybe. I don't know. It just looks so cool right there. I just feel like I can't mess with it. I can see a little bit of my pink here from my light pink. Make sure I get rid of that. I'll go ahead and add a little bit of water, let that kind of flood out a little bit. Here we go. Get some color going on around on the outside here. Okay, we're gonna let that one dry. I think that one may be done. So these two still need it. So we're gonna go back and do our green here. So once this bottom layer is on there, I think this next layer is gonna really be able to stick around. So we don't need the water to go all the way to the edge. So we're gonna go kind of right along there. That way it doesn't have far that I can go because it's only gonna flood into the area that's wet. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit more up here. Oop. Okay. And if you think it's gotten too concentrated, you can just always add water and let it kind of float over the edge. Just kind of creates the fun layers. Oops, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, green. So the green looks like it's acting completely different than the blue, which is why it's kind of a fun process because every color is going to just be a little bit different. You could even mix two different colors together on this, like if you want to do green and blue together, or if you wanted to come back in with a little bit of yellow in here. Just again, these ones, like I said, they're not hard. They just actually just take a little bit of time because you have to have patience to kind of let layers dry. Patience not to get too speedy and bump that brush into your heart. Which I think sometimes is nice. Okay. Okay. Sometimes you're going to come in with such a littlest bit of dampness to your brush. Okay. I did it. All right, so I've got an X-Acto knife. So if you do go over the edge, I don't know if these are painted white though. We were discussing that before. There we go. I think they might be. I'm just going to take a littlest bit of my white paint pen and dab there. He's almost done. So if you're joining in, I know people kind of come in and out of these lives a lot. If you're here, give the video a thumbs up while you're here, please and thank you. And second, the goal of these hearts is to not see the outside edge of the original line that we drew on the heart, okay? So we're getting there on this. So see on this green, you can't really see the left-hand side. See, you can see it, the outer edge of the green line there. See that? So that's the difference. So that we're still working on. This, we've kind of accomplished our goal. At least that's the goal that I have set. You can stop whenever you want, but that's the difference. That's what we're kind of looking for. So you're literally just going back and forth in these small areas with small amounts of paint, small amount of water. Just working those spaces and working that paint. Just gonna kind of go along these edges a little bit at a time until I like what I'm seeing. And the rock is saturated, so it doesn't really take a lot of paint on your brush to get things moving once the rock is kind of damp. And that's why sometimes you have to kind of let it dry out. If the rock is starting to get too wet, everything you do is just going to kind of flood and wash off. All right, we're getting pretty close here. I'm going to do one more go with the green here. I feel like this edge is really close. Okay, we'll see how that dries. Okay. Okay, all right. Yellow's gonna need a little bit. I think the blue is fine. I think this one's fine. I think that one edge, it still isn't a hard edge. So we're gonna leave that one. See what I mean? Since this pink did it really cool on the first go, I didn't get as many layers of the pink on this side, but I'm still pretty obsessed with that part, so I think we might leave it. There are areas that I do want to add a little bit more right here. Right there. Okay. That might be it. I think I'm going to leave this guy. He looks really cool. That area just needs a little bit of pink because I can see the pale pink. Okay. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I pulled that pink away. Okay, I'm gonna kind of dab some of this pink in here. It might help with that. What I will never do is actually take like the pink paint pen and dab on the outside anywhere, because you can leave behind the actual marks. And we don't want that. Okay. I think we're good. I think we're good with the pink heart. I think it looks great. So that one we're gonna move up into the done zone. Yellow definitely needs some more love. This yellow, maybe we need to go with a little bit of orange. Should we go with some orange? Okay, what time is it? I'm getting kind of close on time here. Almost 3 o'clock. All right. So I'm going to go orange with this. I think the yellow is too light. I wanted it to kind of have a fiery kind of look to it. And I think the yellow is just too light. So we're going to just come right in here. We're just going to go for it. Go orange right away. Layering it with the yellow will look really cool. Little bit. Now, sometimes when I'm going my water, I'm just getting water on the bristles. I'm not getting it all the way down into the neck of the... Oh, that looks way better already. Just don't cross into the white heart. I've repeated myself 1,000 times, but that's kind of one of the only main important things to pull this off. I like that better. That looks really cool. I think there's a couple spots I'm going to have to do a little bit more on that, but I like that. That made it pop a lot more. Yours will look better. What color combination did you go with? What kind of stone are you using, and what color of heart did you try to go with? Because I would say, like, you can try to go for a little bit more contrast. That might help, because like the light colors on the dark stones don't really pop a lot. So I'm curious, what color are you working with? Okay, I'm just going to do one more little quick layer here and a couple spots on my green. I had a lot of water on my brush there. I did not need that much. There we go. Just going right along that edge. It's a beach pebble. I'm using a maroonish color. Okay, so it's a darker color. Yeah. Well, and once it dries too, when it dries, it changes color quite a bit too. But yes, depending on how you seal your rocks, that's why I wanted to test seal and make sure that those stones kind of got a little bit darker when I sealed them, and it really made it pop. So I'm curious to hear how that goes once it's sealed. It might really make it special. And that's when the background colors really started showing up on here as well. All right, so that one I think is done as well. I think we got one little spot here on this orange that I think I can still see that line. The rest of it flooded out pretty good that first try. So I'm just going to go right along this edge one time here. And then I'm going to wrap these up. Did you do the Be Kind ones, Tammy, as well? Let's try to feather that out just a little bit. Okay. I can see, oops, wrong side. I can't see the little bit. You did one? Okay, cool. That's all right. I'm glad you painted with me. I'm going to turn this into 2 completely different tutorials. It was funny because I started doing one. So I was doing these hearts and I showed them at the beginning, but I'll show them one more time here at the end. I was doing them 2-toned and I just wasn't loving them. And then one of them that I did 2-tone, the outline outside heart looked so cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, what if I just did that? And it was after I'd already decided I wanted to do the word rocks. So we just do both today. That's how I'm going to treat these lives, as a very whatever I want to paint. And people vote on the theme, but I'm not overthinking it. I'm just hopping on and painting. Even if I end up doing something I've done before, sometimes I think I'm okay with that as well. I think we are, as we're going to close out here, I do want to just touch base. I think we're going to stick with probably like every other week. I'm pretty sure if I looked at the calendar, every other week, if I do it starting now, it avoids Thanksgiving week. It should avoid Christmas, I think. I think I'm going to go through and create an actual schedule for it, though, and what kind of plan, what it's going to be slightly, at least just like the general theme. And that way I can kind of check out when the holidays land to make sure we kind of are painting when I'm out of town or something like that. All right, guys, so we've got our hearts. Can we get them all on here? Ooh. Hearts. And our Be Kind rocks. Oh my gosh, I can't even fit them all in here. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Oh, here's a 2-tone one. I just had mentioned that. 2-tone. If you want to do 2-tone, just do the second color on the inside. I might zhuzh at those because these ones I didn't think about doing that whole second and third layer on. So I might play around with them more and do one again. You did one of each, Tammy. I'm looking forward to your picture. So we'll see you guys in probably 2 weeks. I will let you know that for sure. That will be in the broadcast. If you are not a member of our broadcast, go be a member of the broadcast. That's where I can send you most of the information. The red and green, yeah, they turned out pretty with the 2-tones if you've got like a theme. Like these ones were a little bit kind of Christmassy looking to me, so we might do something kind of more Christmas themed. Yeah, this one got away from me. This one's prettier. This one is the one where the outline gave me the idea to do just the outline hearts. So we will be back soon. Thanks for stopping in. If you haven't yet, give the video a thumbs up before you leave. And thanks again for following along.